See, this is so weird. Everyone that's seen my videos so far there at Doodlebug has asked that I do a video about all the stuff that I use on the field, so I guess this is for you guys. Voila! Alright guys, so in this video, basically showing off three main components of my rig. My sidearm, which is the Tip-X pistol, my Guy I4s, but I know the big mama that everyone wants to see, my SAR12C sniper rifle. So we'll save this for the end. If that's all you care about, you can skip ahead in the video. First thing I want to talk about are the I4s. There's not a whole lot to be said about them. It's a really good mask. The lens never fogs on me. I had it fog on me once. It was sort of in the winter time. I was lying prone in a tall bushel of grass with my mask basically right down in the bushes, and the sun was starting to come up, so that level of humidity did cause some fog. It only happened once that day, so it wasn't really that big of an issue, honestly. What I do get a lot of questions about in regards to my visor is how I got it on there. Because you'll see everyone wearing the I4s, I know they're pretty popular, but no one can seem to get the visor to fit right. That Velcro they send it with, the double back tape, that stuff that's trash. We all know that. Everyone's tried to use it, really. But as you can see, I don't have any sort of Velcro or anything like that, but mine snaps to the side of the mask. That is not a standard feature. For anyone who's played any sort of contact sport and wears a mouth guard, they might be familiar with the trick that I use, and I couldn't find this online, but I had a bowl of cool water set aside, I had a hot pot of boiling water, and I took the lens, or sorry, not the lens, I took my visor, dipped it in the boiling water for a bit, took it out, put it in cold water, and just bent it into shape until it cooled and took the shape that I needed it, and then you just pop the visor on and it's perfect fit. I shoot all my video from a first-person point of view with the GoPro, and the way that I have that mounted on there, you probably can't see it too well in the video, but there are quite a few demonstrations online that show how to use the handlebar mount to mount your GoPro through the grid in the top of your I4s. You can use it on any mask that has that ventilation going through the top there, and the visor actually fits very, very nice right around the front of the GoPro. But that's really all I wanted to share about my I4s, just to answer a couple of questions, mostly about that visor. The next thing I want to show off would be my sidearm. I really haven't done any modifications to this besides probably the most popular one, adding the remote line. Having to sit here and fiddle with this CO2 cartridge every single time I needed to put a new magazine in. It's all good and well if you're only going to use it once or twice throughout the day and you're going to be using it, you know, not a whole lot, but, you know, if you're trying to rely on something, you want it to be consistent, you want that remote line. Honestly, this is probably the best upgrade you can get for this gun. But, story. So, I was out in the middle of the paintball field. I was the last guy on my team, and there was two guys on the other side of a bunker. It was a game of zombies. And I needed a way to attack them, and as you know, my SAR-12 is a bolt-action rifle. Not the most effective thing to bunker a group of two with, so I pulled out my sidearm, I fired a couple of shots at the bunker, swapped out the mag, and by the time I'd gotten there and went around the corner to get them, the next shot that I pulled, a paintball just rolled out the front, fell to the ground, and I got shot up all in the chest. And right then and there I knew that I needed something a little bit more reliable with this thing, so I waited for the pro shop to get it back in stock. I got the remote line. It's so simple to install, it really is. I know that you can get aftermarket parts to upgrade the chamber of this thing to hold first strike rounds. That's just not something that I really want to do, not with a pistol, not when I've got a rifle that can tag people from 90 yards away or more. So the other upgrade that I got for this marker, and the guys at the pro shop did give me a pretty nice deal for all of this stuff, would be the magazines. I don't like the Zeta mags personally. I've used them once. A friend loaned them to me at the park. I just couldn't get a good feel for it. I felt like when I was running around the field carrying that magazine around, I'd have a ball fall out one end or the other, no matter which way I put it in the pouch. They're interesting though, they're a good idea. So if it works for you, that's awesome. But I use the 12 ball straight feed that are made by Tipman, the extended magazines. I carry 2 of them with me on the field. Obviously this is not my primary weapon, but it does come in handy in close quarters games. It's nice to have those 12 rounds that you can use rather than just the 7 that come standard. So everyone seems to have an issue with carrying these things around. They're super long, they don't really fit into any mag pouches, and the ones that they do fit into, at least the ones that I found at the surplus, cost about $30 a pop, which is ridiculous. So what I use for basically all of my magazines, depending on how I'm going to play the game, I have this medical pouch. So this, I think maybe cost me $20 at most. It's by Fox Tactical. I got this at the local surplus store, and it holds either 2 of my SAR mags. Very nice. It's just a molly weaving on the back. Very, very versatile. But another thing that it does very well, depending on, like I said, the style of gameplay, it can also hold 2 to 3 of these. I'm sure you can fit in more if you really wanted to. I only carry 2, like I said. But in here, I don't know if you can see this, it's got this little elastic loop. It's got 3 of those. So what I can do, you really have to ask it nice with these elastic loops, but you can fit them into the loops. They hold real snug, they're not going to fall out, and when you have it on your vest, on your belt, however, the zippers come all the way up but don't cover the top of the mag, so you can actually pull it right out when you're done, drop it in your mag bag, and you go from there. So these are nice, a real lifesaver, inexpensive. Thank you, Fox Tactical. I know 100 other brands make these, but they really do get the job done. So, I don't know if you guys can see this whole thing in frame. I'm actually going to break it down for you as best I can. But this is the SAR12C. If anyone wants expert tips on this gun, if anyone really wants to get into this or has an interest in buying this thing, don't consult me. I'm no expert. Every time I have a question, I go to the Karmatech owner's Facebook page. The guys usually answer within the hour any question that I have. And really, it's a pretty phenomenal rifle. But it's not a beast out of the box. Anyone who has one of these things will tell you it does require some pretty special, intimate attention to fine-tune this rifle exactly to how you need it to perform, which is actually pretty genius. So with something like this, when I originally got it, my magazines didn't quite feed the way that I needed them to, but right here, right inside this mag well are 2 little adjustment screws that will allow you to adjust the way the magazine sits inside the mag well. And that will allow for a smoother feed, a tighter fit, looser fit, whatever you really need when you're getting to know your marker. And to me, that's genius. Now, the way that this gun is, I'll show off some of the features. Obviously, I'm not going to shoot this thing for you guys inside my house, and I've got plenty of videos uploaded so far showing off the gameplay with this thing. But you can see, I'm going to move here, it is very much a bolt action. But the way that I have it set up right now is Karmatech's bolt action sniper kit. I forget what the exact price point is for this thing, but it does come with the carbon fiber shroud, it does come with the bipod, it does come with the hammerhead rifled barrel, which is a perfect bore, honestly. These barrels are custom made for Karmatech. You can't buy them individually. They are phenomenal. The other thing it comes with is the Hawk XB30 Pro Crossbow Scope. And it does work perfectly for paintball. I won't go into too much detail about that. For anyone who wants more information about their scope, you can just go to Hawk's website, and I can include that in the description. And the other thing that Karmatech has done to their SAR12C is change the buttstock. But this is pretty cool in the way that it does collapse all the way down. It fits into storage real easy, even take this whole thing off. My favorite thing, honestly, about this gun is the bolt action. Some people would argue that it's pretty impractical, and maybe if you're playing speedball, sure. But there are a lot of things that I do like about it being a bolt action. Every shot that you take is an event. There's something special about it. Honestly, it's a lot of fun to use. Anyone that sees me using this thing on the field always makes the comment about how sexy it is, and yeah, I agree. Drawing that bolt back right before you paint someone's mask with the new First Strike rounds is absolutely, oh, fantastic. The next thing that I really like about this gun is the rifling in the barrel. I used the Lapco barrel on my old Tiberius, and I seemed to run into a few issues. The biggest issue that I had was when I had a First Strike jammed in the barrel and didn't realize it right away. I fired another shot through, still nothing came out. So I fired a third shot through and finally realized I had 3 First Strikes butt to butt stuck in my barrel, and had a big issue with that, obviously, when you can't shoot through, and at that point, such a bad jam, there's really nothing you can do about it except throw a power tool through it. But the rifling in this barrel is phenomenal. There are a few, I don't know if you guys can see the muzzle break here, there are a few aftermarket tips that you can get for their barrel. You other SAR owners are probably going to be ashamed of me when I say I can't remember the type of threading that are on these hammerheads. I think it's an auto cocker, but you know, someone's going to correct me if I'm wrong, so check the comments if you want the accurate description of that. But there are a few other muzzle breaks you can get from Hammerhead. I've seen a few on some other websites that do look pretty badass. There's even a Lapco universal suppressor that you can have fit on that. Looks very, very, very good. I do like my simple, tough-looking muzzle brake on here. Another thing that I really like about this gun is that it does accept a shroud, and one thing that David Williams, the owner of Karmatech, is working on is a delta ring adapter for this thing, so that you can actually put M16 or AR-15 style So there are a few things I would point out to you guys who have questions about this. Now this is going to be old information for anyone who does own this marker, so take it easy in the comments. But for anyone who doesn't own this marker, yes, it is a true bolt action rifle. You do load each round into the chamber manually before you pull the trigger. Now, there is a semi-automatic version of this rifle that does exist. You need to request that from Karmatech if you are looking into this rifle. I have not used the semi-automatic version, but most of the people that I've talked to who have used it still prefer the bolt action. Really, the only reason I think that you would need this to be a semi-automatic rifle is if you were doing a lot more close quarters firefighting rather than long range tagging, and really this is what this marker excels at, being a bolt action beast that can hit people from distances that those speedball markers can't even touch. It is a mag-fed gun, so you do need more than just the gun itself when you're going on the field. I use just a modular molly weave vest in-game. And sometimes I don't even use that. I'll just sling the med pouch on my belt loop, throw 2 mags in there, and call that good. Disassembly of this marker is incredibly simple. You push this pin in here, stock comes out. You got the upper lower receiver. I'm not going to take my scope off of there for obvious reasons, but on the back side of this marker, or I suppose on the other side, there is this pull pin. You rip that out. I like to use it to kind of guide the next pin right below it out. Pull this pin out, 2 pull pins, and the bolt comes right out. Super easy to clean, but I've never had to strip it down in the field. This thing is extremely reliable. I've never had a single break. If you guys check out some of the other videos, you can see this thing in action. For those of you who wanted to see a video of the gear that I use, hopefully this answered any questions that you might have had. I had fun making this. It's fun getting to talk about this awesome rifle. It's a pretty phenomenal machine, unlike any other paintball marker that I've ever used. Big thank you to my fiance for helping record this footage. If you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like, hit me up with some comments, hit that subscribe button. I may do a follow-up video on this in the future, maybe more tailored exactly around what you guys want to know about this thing. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. So we're recording now? Okay, I don't know what to say.